And I'm happy to say that I had yesterday off. And so that means I have a nice long weekend. I was off yesterday, today, and I'm going to be off tomorrow. So anyways, I'm thinking that they were asking people if they wanted to take a vacation day was because of the obvious decline in sales. So as most of you guys know, I work at Lowe's, okay? And we have a lumber department. And where do we get our lumber from? That's right. A lot of our lumber comes straight from Canada. Despite what Donald Trump says that we have plenty of lumber here, a lot of our lumber we get directly from Canada. And because Canada's own reversal tariff that they apply to us, when they ship out lumber to us, we have to pay a tariff on that delivery. But if you have been keeping up with Canada's news posts, you see that they're eliminating all our products made in the US off of their shelves. And they have every right to. Look who we have for president. A control freak. A Hitler wannabe. A Putin boot kisser. He applies tariff, he backs up on tariff. He threatens, then he takes it back on all countries that he talked about. Canada, Mexico, and other countries alike. And now he's talking about possibly having discussions with Russia and maybe raising sanctions on those guys. That's the only country that he should watch out for is Russia. But instead, he's warming up to President Putin. Doesn't make no sense to me. But anyways, they said today that consumer purchases have gone down something like 25% in recent days. It's the lowest that it's been in many, many years. And of course, you know, we have a recession coming up if we're not in it already. And you know what Donald Trump's going to do? He's going to blame who else? Biden. I have a feeling that for the next 4 years, he's going to blame everything on Biden, even though the most drastic changes that's being done during a president just coming into office is causing the recession, is causing the direct effect with consumer spending, okay? We're going through a trades war right now, and there's no ifs or buts about it. During Trump's last big speech to Congress, he did nothing but blame Biden for everything. All right? And it's no coincidence that these catastrophic changes in spending is causing a lot of finger pointing. And you can't get a clear, concise answer on everything. When you ask a question, they give you diversions. They redirect their questions, and then they answer in the way that they want to without giving you the answer you're looking for to get. So anyways, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and to those people just visiting my channel for the first time. If you hear something or see something that resonates with you, maybe something you heard on the news, then please consider unsubscribing. Let's discuss it. Leave me a comment. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe key twice so you get further notifications of my downloads. and don't forget to share. I'll be right back with more.
I'm not suggesting anything so complicated.
So the other thing that's always on the news lately is this: the cost of eggs. I'm a single person. I live alone. I just went grocery shopping yesterday. And the first thing that I wanted to make sure I checked out was the price of eggs. The eggs I was looking at went up 50%. They used to be $5 for the triple rolls of eggs. Those are up $10. Yep. So I ended up buying the 2-roll carton of eggs for $5. What are you going to do? So anyways, I was watching something in the news regarding eggs. In the past, I said, why do they keep talking about eggs all the time? Who cares? A lot of people care. Eggs is a staple in a lot of people's diets. Okay? Bakeries use a lot of eggs. People buy a lot of eggs. Restaurants buy a lot of eggs, especially those restaurants that serve breakfast. They're going to buy a lot of eggs. One of the things I saw in the news, as I was saying, was they're now recommending, you can quote me on this, they're recommending that people buy their own chickens. They're out of their minds. Not everybody lives in a single-family home, and not everybody lives on their own land. I, for one, I live in an HOA community. What's going to happen when I buy chickens? Where am I going to keep them? I can see it now, me getting letters every other week telling me that I got to get rid of my chickens. I can't keep chickens on the HOA community. It's crazy. I have to buy chickens just so I can have eggs? I don't have a farm. And speaking of farmers are taking a big hit right now. They're not getting no protection. The vegetables and fruits that's coming from our farms, a lot of them coming from Mexico, the very same country that we are hitting with tariffs. I shouldn't say we. The Americans didn't make this decision. It's Orange Face, Trump. Okay? He's the one that's been threatening, pushing tariffs and then pulling it back. He'll push tariffs and he'll pull it back. He's like a little child. He can't make up his mind how he's going to get his way. So when he sees the stock market crashing, he pulls it in. He pushes it out, he casts it out, then he reels it in. Quite frankly, these countries like Canada and Mexico and maybe Colombia or something, they're getting really tired of the games that Trump's been playing. So you know what they're doing? When they threaten us back, they're not playing any games. They're actually doing what they said they're going to do, and they're not taking it back, okay? Tesla vehicles are not being sold in Canada right now. Tesla in France has closed shops. They're not building cars, and they're not selling them. As a matter of fact, if you've been watching the news last week, a Tesla dealership, the entire fleet of Tesla automobiles were burned in the sales parking lot. Oh yeah, they were on fire. And not only that, but American highways that had Tesla charging stations were on fire. Okay? I think Elon is starting to feel how much disapproval we Americans have of him getting tangled up in politics. a department where he does not belong. He was much more liked when he did his business and concentrated on his SpaceX and his Starlink that's failed, another business group that Canada eliminated from their country. Many countries, not just Canada and Mexico, are following suit. All the European nations are going to follow Canada in what they're doing. And you know what? I don't blame them one bit. How do you guys like that now, MAGA people? How do you Republicans like that now? The whole speech that Trump did last week on Friday, okay, was full of shit. Not one time did he talk about the policies that mattered to the American people, which were education, groceries, our economy, the price of fuel, housing. What did Trump talk about? He talked about trans people, how in the federal government spending, they saw that they were spending, the Biden administration was spending money on how to turn rats into transgender. I don't give a shit about that stuff. That's not going to affect the economy. That's not going to affect our cost of living. What's not going to affect me also is what transgenders are doing playing in sports. I don't care about what sports is what's happening with sports in high school or colleges. Those are state level things that can be handled in the educational department and also at state level, not countrywide. The transgender community represent only 1% of the whole population, okay, which is 345 million people. So who cares about that? Why was that such a point to bring up congressional speech? Okay, why? This is why the Democrats didn't clap, because the things that should have been discussed were not discussed. It sounded like Trump is still on a campaign. Hasn't he woken up yet that he's the president of our country? And the reasons why people are put into office of the president's position is to assist Americans have an affordable living, affordable housing, groceries affordable, gas prices are within reason, healthcare, education. Nothing like that was brought up. And then you have these moron Republicans that were just clapping. And then Donald Trump has the nerve to say that my friends on the right will not clap. Shame on them. No, shame on you, red face, because you did not talk about the policies that really mattered. Instead, you singled out the minority group and you keep on picking on them. Doesn't make any sense. And speaking of education, he's cutting education from federal funding. We already know that education is not controlled at the federal level. Education is at the state level. Every state controls the education in their countries. Maybe he's talking about college education or college funding. He's surely not talking about public schools, because those are in the control of each state. Okay? Just like, for example, if you think that transgender sports with transgender athletes matters to you, those are at state level. Okay? When it has to do with schools and participation from trans people, that's at the state level. They make that decision. That's why when Trump had a meeting 2 weeks ago, when he asked Maine, was Maine going to ban transgender from their schools? That's telling you and me that trans issues in school sports is at the state level. But because you Republicans and MAGAs had your mind tuned off to the policies that really mattered, didn't realize that those issues are at state level. That when Trump was running his presidency based on that stuff, all he was doing was spewing the hate that further divided us. And also what that did was it diverted the attention away from things that mattered, that he had plans all along with Project 2025. What was that plan? To break down our government, to shrink the size of the government, to cut all prospective agencies within our government, the FAA, the FDA, our military, our healthcare, Medicare, the Postal Service, and et cetera, our social securities. He was diverting our attention with personal issues so you don't see the whole picture, the big picture. And that's what's happening right now. This is what's causing a lot of the Republicans to pedal back, and now they have buyer's remorse. They're in total regret for voting for this dope that they have in the office, who can't even be honest about what the polls say. His approval among young voters from 18 to 33 are down to 31%. 31% of young voters agree with what he's doing, just 31%. Okay? The other 69% or whatever disapproves of him. They regret it. I remember when they were voting, they're all dancing in the streets, how they're going to vote for Trump. 18-year-olds and above, dancing in the street, all happy that they're going to go vote for Trump. Just like the rest of the MAGAs. Make America great again, really? By destroying our government and destroying our civil liberties, curtailing our freedom of speech, the freedom of the press. This is the guy you voted for? It's ridiculous. So anyway, I did write a few little things that I want to talk about, and these are things I'm discussing with you that I jotted down. The other thing that's in headline news is the strife that's happening within the Trump administration. Yeah. And you've heard about it. But Trump wants to dance around that question. What does he do? He comes back and he lifts them up. The strife between Elon Musk and Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is not happy with Elon Musk because of his senseless slashing of jobs without giving it a second thought. I think Marco Rubio finally realizes that big show that he did on stage, when he's dancing around on stage with a big giant chainsaw, like a little child in play school with a plastic chainsaw, what that told Americans was he's going to chop away, he's going to have fun doing it, and he's going to bring you a lot of attention, because that's what that did. That stunt he did on stage with a big giant plastic chainsaw was a stunt. It's telling you that everything's on a chopping table. He can't get it. It's chop, 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 chop. No second thought. What the American families are going through. This tells you that this guy does not have an emotional connection with you. He's a businessman. And because he's tied to Donald Trump, who is a businessman, the worst kind of businessman, who has 3 failed casinos, that's the guy he takes his own business with to work with and to assist in governing our spending? Are you kidding me? You Republicans that now regret this, you're going to have to live with this for the next 4 years as well. Okay? Every town hall in our country that's led by a Republican congressman or governor is feeling the hate. Okay? They're seeing the discontent of the Trump voters. They were let down. They were let down, guys. You're not going to forget this, what happened when you voted for Trump and the Republicans. Okay? They ran on a campaign of creating more jobs, controlling our economy so we can have a better life, so we can put food on the table for our kids. You have a guy who's the richest man on the planet, literally pulling the food out of those countries where we're giving aid to. To them, that's just crazy spending. It's not something that we can be doing. These are people who are self-proclaimed Christians, who they say they're doing Jesus' work. Jesus' work wasn't to pull food from children's mouths or stop cancer research. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. Nothing that's happening makes any sense. But this is their plan with Project 2025 to get us to be in chaos, to get us to be scared and full of fear, so we can freeze and hide under our blankets. So we can become slaves. Aren't we the ones that put them in office to begin with? Today, I sent a friend a text on instant message on Facebook. I told her that this year, I was gonna connect myself with those protests going on across the country. And I'm going to take my vacation on those dates because I want to take part in protesting and joining all those disappointed Republicans and those liberals and conservatives together that want to do the right thing in our country and see the right people in our office. Because we voted them in, we should be able to vote them out when the time comes. Because they have a bigger plan that we did not vote for. And Trump knew it all along because his name was all over that Project 2025. Him and Russell Vogt. Okay? The other, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Mengele. That's his real name. That's Russell Vogt's name. And of course, Donald Trump is the Hitler. Anyways, I said enough this Saturday evening, and I hope you guys have a nice weekend. Please, if I make or if I resonate something with you guys, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be talking to you guys soon.